Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also attached a link to the Marvel database where you can get like plot synopsis and characters bios. So we're going to be looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 3 from July of 1963. It is also the very first appearance of Dr. Octopus. So I'm doing some of the earlier ones. I have done Amazing Fantasy 15, Amazing Spider-Man number 1. I skipped number 2, and here we are down to 3. I'm not going to do every single one. Just picking some of the key first appearances and some of the key issues. So, all right, so here we have Spider-Man being held by Dr. Octopus, and America's most exciting superhero captured by the world's most dreaded supervillain. And Dr. Octopus says, "You are helpless, Spider-Man. I warned you that the power of Dr. Octopus is far greater than yours." So, great cover by Steve Ditko, who happened to sign it. So, and then it asks the questions on the cover. Can anything that lives defeat the mighty Dr. Octopus? So, all right, Spider-Man versus the strangest foe of all time, Dr. Octopus. Um, and here we see here Dr. Octopus, the only enemy to ever defeat Spider-Man. In this epic tale, see the Human Torch, fantasy, thrills, and so we got story by Stan Lee and the art by Steve Ditko. Everybody knows the story that Stan Lee sort of just kind of, you know, I guess we should consider Steve Ditko to be like a co-plotter at the very least. So, all right. Now, I've always asked, but does anybody know? I actually do not know what these things mean. They were always in the beginnings of every issue of the comic books in the 60s and 70s and even some in the 80s, but then it disappeared. Does anybody know what that is? So, a story has to start somewhere, so let's begin with a lonely warehouse in the dead of night where we find a robbery taking place. And they're taking the whole safe. Hold it, guys. I think I heard something. Relax, Charlie. It was probably just a mouse. Suddenly, the most fearsome image in crime fighting appears on the wall directly above the startled thieves. Mouse. You ever seen a mouse like this? And we have like a reflector of Spider-Man, kind of like a bat signal of any kind. But don't be shy, fella. You can say my name. It's Spider-Man. And this guy's like, get him! But Spider-Man quickly disposes of the 3 villains. And then minutes later, here comes the cops. And Spider-Man left them here. We all know, and here's how he's using that to create the light. We all know that in real life, vigilantes, this is why vigilantes only work in comic books, because all the case is thrown out against them. So, all right. So here's Spider-Man saying, it's almost too easy. I've run out of enemies who can give me any real opposition. I'm too powerful for any foe. I almost wish there was an opponent who'd give me a run for my money. So, little does Spider-Man suspect that his frivolous wish is about to come true. For at this moment, in the outskirts of town, an atomic research center. I'm surprised they didn't call it Acme. Here comes Dr. Octopus. And Dr. Octopus, why do they call him that? Watch and you'll see in a minute. See, it's that especially designed contraption he wears, which enables him to perform his experiments behind the lead walls which shield him from radiation. He created that get-up himself, and he's the only scientist permitted to wear it. He's the most brilliant atomic researcher in our country today. Everybody does atoms. Yes, such a man is Otto Octavius, better known to his co-workers as Dr. Octopus. Let us watch as he conducts a nuclear experiment. And so, my artificial extra arms permit me to work safely with volatile chemicals which are far too dangerous to touch without protection. The others fear radiation. I alone am able to make it my servant. But nothing is ever perfect, not even the projects of Dr. Octopus. And the unsuspecting atomic genius conduct and as the unsuspecting atomic genius conducts his experiment. So here we see that radiation meter is going to go up and the place is about to blow, and this guy says sound the alarm, and it explodes here. I love the red. I love everything of this panel here. So they're carrying Dr. Octopus, who happens to be alive, and they're like the explaining that he has absorbed too much radiations here. And they say here the x-rays show an uncertain amount of brain damage. I doubt the x-rays show that, but that's okay. Stanley was not a doctor, but x-rays don't show that, but that's okay. I'm afraid his mind has been permanently damaged. We can't remove those artificial arms of his, yet the radiation has caused them to adhere to his body in some strange way. So some time has passed and he gets up and he's like, what's going on? I need to get to work. And the doctor here says, you've been very ill. You need to stay in bed and rest. Of course, we already saw that his brain was injured. So, but the brain of Dr. Octopus, the brain which has been damaged by radiation, reacts in a bitter way. They're jealous of me. They want to keep me from my work, but I'll show them I'm stronger than any of them. The window is barred. They're trying to make a prisoner of me. The fools. No one can hold Dr. Octopus against his will. No one. And so, his arms are fused to him. So he's like, I gotta find a way to break the things. And the arms break the window, or the bars take him out. And of course, he realizes that the mechanical arms have become a part of him. They obey all his commands. And of course, he believes he's the smartest person on Earth. So he now thinks he'll be the supreme person. So minutes later, you want to see me, Dr. Octopus? Yes, come in. Shut the door behind you. What is it? Oh, no. Haha, you don't believe what you see. But it's true. I'm all powerful. From now on, I give the commands here. So, right now, then, we're at the Daily Bugle here. Jonah's talking to Peter Parker. I want pictures of the injured scientist, Dr. Octopus, but no one is allowed to enter the Bliss private hospital anymore. I never heard of any hospital keeping people out. Don't worry, JJ. I'll get those pics for you. My best men have tried and failed, but so far you've succeeded in every assignment. I can't imagine how a teenager like you does it. Our agreement, JJ, is that you're never to ask me how I do it. Just have a check ready for me when I bring back the pics of Dr. Octopus. Of course, Peter thinks here. He doesn't suspect Peter Parker, the teenager he assigned to the job, is going to have Spider-Man do it. So, here's the place. Strange that it's locked and nobody is admitted. What kind of hospital is this? So, he jumps the fence, or the wall there. These suction fingers mine will get me up the wall in no time. Boy, it's great being Spider-Man. I can do almost anything. The only problem is my jobs are too easy. I'd welcome a little competition once in a while. So he starts to climb up and looks inside the window. First of all, I love this panel. He's interrupting mid-scene here. Silence, nobody speaks. Nobody's to speak when Dr. Octopus speaks. And he watches through the window. You can't keep us prisoners forever, Dr. Octopus. We we've done what you asked, gotten you all the equipment you wanted. When will you let us go? And Dr. Octopus says, not until I'm ready. With my power, no one can resist me. You'll remain to serve me until I no longer need you and not before. So, um, but this is mad. You have no right. And he grabs the doctor. Right? You dare speak to me of right? You have the right to do anything as long as I have the power. And if you doubt my power, here's a small sample. And he's like, no, let me down. So Spider-Man's seen enough. He's about to break in and says, hold it, Doc. How about picking up someone who can fight back? And Dr. Octopus calls him out. I sure ain't Albert Schweitzer. Um, I I don't know who that is. I've heard the name, but that's all right. I'm not even going to look it up. So, you dare speak flippantly to me, you fool. When I'm finished with you, you'll sing a different tune. So, off he goes. And then he punches him with the metal arms. And Spider-Man tries to use his webbing, but it's of no use. And he's like, he's faster than I thought. And he grabs those two arms, but then the other arms that he used with the webbing manages to get out. And now he has grabbed Spider-Man. Nice panel here. And I love this panel where he just smacks him. You dared to mock me before. Why aren't you mocking me now? Where are your brave words and taunts now, Spider-Man? Absolutely. Like a boss. That is awesome. So he throws him out. So, or do you realize you finally met your master and now you can leave the way you entered? You're no threat to me. Should have killed him when you had the chance, Dr. Octopus. But we can't kill our heroes because what are you going to sell the next month? So, Spider-Man's is barely conscious here. So, I love how what Steve Ditko is very good. It is too bad that him and Stan Lee could not come to some kind of agreement or resolution, because I can't imagine how good it would have been if Steve Ditko would have been able to continue. However, John Romita did a great job, so we wouldn't have the John Romita we have now if it hadn't been for Steve Ditko leaving Spider-Man. But anyway, so Spider-Man is like, man, I didn't even have a chance. And he wonders, what do I do now? I've never been beaten before, but this time my spider powers were not enough. Is this the end of Spider-Man? So, here comes Dr. Octopus. Even though I've defeated Spider-Man, my prisoners escaped during the fight. I must leave before the police arrived. With my arms, I can go anywhere, do anything. The fence can't stop me. No one can stop me. And so, why is he hiding from the one guard? Seriously. All right. He just beat Spider-Man, but he's keeping the guard. Who dresses like this? So, all right. So, he's gonna unlock the door going through that grate up here. And then he takes these two scientists and escort them out. Nothing can stop me. Between my own super strength and the atomic power which is mine to command here, I'm the strongest man alive. But first, I'll give the world a demonstration of my strength. I'll destroy part of the planet and rebuild it to suit myself. And so here, something's happened to the lead shielding. It's been lowered. The radiation is starting to escape. Look out, the giant machines are running out of control as though some madman is guiding them. There's too much pressure in the main valves. The pipes are overheating, exploding. It isn't safe to stay here. Actually, if this thing were to have a meltdown, it wouldn't be safe in a lot of places, but that's all right. And within minutes, the source of trouble is made known, and these two here are trying to get Dr. Octopus, but he set up the electronic barriers. Love this picture of, or this panel of him. he's, of course, keeps saying he can't be stopped. And so now we are with the armed forces here. Uh, this guy here says, we've never been up against anything like this before. A brilliant scientist with superhuman powers on a mad rampage. So this guy here says, if we can't stop him, then we must see that innocent people are not injured. So, this guy here is saying, what, why do they even put guards here if Dr. Octopus shows up? So, and Peter Parker's feeling pretty down because he got the floor mopped with him. So, his Aunt May says, poor Peter's been moping in his room for hours. I wish he'd tell me what's wrong. And of course, I'm a failure. Spider-Man's a joke. Nothing, a nothing. And then the phone is ringing. Mr. Jason, no, I won't be able to get the pictures, Dr. Octopus. No, I probably won't be able to get any more. Sorry, yeah, goodbye. Peter, what's wrong? I can't bear to see you so unhappy. And Peter's like, it's my own personal problem. I'll get over it. Got to leave for school now. So, all these, this lady here says, hi, Pete, but he didn't answer. And he's just feeling bad. And, Flash Thompson says, he's down in the dumps. Looks like he lost his favorite test tube. So, Pete, did you hear the big news? The governor asked the Fantastic Four to try to capture Dr. Octopus. They're busy with another case, but they sent the Human Torch to see what he can do. He's speaking to our assembly today. And Peter Parker's like, big deal. Why would he be speaking to Oh, I love it. 60s comic books. So, we're at a school assembly, and Johnny Storm is here. I was asked here to tackle Dr. Octopus, but I've used my flame so much recently. I have to wait a few days to let it get strong again. While I'm waiting, your principal asked me to address you. And Peter's thinking here, if only I had his power, his confidence. But that's easy when you've never been beaten. And so, Human Torch is doing some tricks in here, but now he's going to talk to them a little seriously, he says. And now for a parting thought. Stick to your schoolwork. Stick to your schoolwork and do your best in your studies. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged if it is sometimes seems to, oh my goodness. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. So even if things seem tough, don't get discouraged. That's essentially what he's saying. The important thing is never give up. Remember that. Never give up. And so Peter's like, I feel like he's talking to me. Ability alone isn't enough. It's one lesson I've learned from my partnership with the Fantastic Four. Even the Fantastic Four had defeats, but we always come back. Our motto is never say die. And now Peter's like, he's right, by golly. And so, after the torch is done, Peter thanks him for the speech. He says he'll never forget what he says. And Human Torch's like, sure, glad you enjoyed it. So, Peter changes back to Spider-Man and says, I guess if the Fantastic Four could be defeated and they go back for more, Spider-Man can too. So, Spider-Man is going to use his webbing to kind of push himself and jump over and arrives at the top of where Dr. Octopus is. And he's going to try to break in. Dr. Octopus sees him. From now on, I allow no one to interfere with my plans. I will permit no one to defy me. And so he's using the machines to get rid of Spider-Man, but he was ready and jumps out of the way and uses his spider sense to basically get out of danger. Spider-Man says, he knows my every move. He must be watching me on some sort of TV hookup. Well, I'll just go somewhere out of range, as only I can. And so Dr. Octopus says, he found a way to evade my electronic scanners. He's more clever than I thought. But I'll defeat him with my all-powerful arms, as I did before. He won't elude me now. And so he sees the chemical laboratory, and of course, Peter's a science nerd. So I've got to move fast. It won't be long before he finds me. There, it's done. And now this will ring. And now this wiring will suit my purpose just fine. I sorry. I had sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You got to kind of look at it a second time. So mustn't make a mistake. Dr. Octopus will give me a second chance if anything goes wrong. And so he's got the vials with him, and now he's searching for Dr. Octopus. Of course, Dr. Octopus thinks he's got Spider-Man, so he goes to throw the vials, but the arms kind of get in the way, and he's he jumps out of the way, sir, not to get out of the reach of, and watch what happens next. You hope to defeat me with a foolish thing like this? You must be mad. And then Dr. Octopus sees this and says, "It's a chemical which fuses my metal arms together. Clever, but I can take care of you of that easily after I dispose of you for good. Ha, even your fast-shooting web isn't enough for me." And so he's using his fused arms like a club. I can't retreat any further. My back is to the wall. I've got to take a desperate chance. And so Dr. Octopus grabs him. I should have realized sooner, Octopus. The best defense is a smashing offense, and webs him in the face. That blasted web, it spread out over my glasses. I can't see. Can't get it off. And so while Dr. Octopus struggles, Spider-Man's going to have a chance to try and break out. There, I've got them off. I've got two, and then Spider-Man thinks, I've got his two free arms apart, but I dare not let go of them. And Dr. Octopus punches him. Give up, fool. Sooner or later, you'll have to let go, and then I'll have you. Spider-Man thinks, I've got one chance, but I've got to time it to the split second or I'm finished. And so he waits and finally punches Dr. Octopus and knocks him down. So and he decides not to take any chances and wraps his webbing around to the other arms. So here comes the army and sees Spider-Man's signal and goes walking and sees Dr. Octopus all gift wrapped, and Spider-Man even leaves them a little note. The authorities will be able to handle Dr. Octopus now, but I have one more thing to take care of as Spider-Man. And so minutes later, the dramatically costumed superhero climbs the sheer wall of a nearby hotel. He's somewhere in this hotel. I'll find him easily. My spider sense tells me that his room is just ahead. And so, good news, Torch, your temperature is down and your virus is gone. By now, the flame should be working at full strength. Great, Doc. I want to show my partners in the Fantastic Four that I can tackle Dr. Octopus alone. Flame on for now. And then Spider-Man shows up and says, Relax, Torch. Dr. Octopus has been captured already. Thanks to you, Torch, Octopus is safely under wraps. And now an additional thanks, because if not for you, Spider-Man might have been finished too. And he goes, What? See you around, Torch. And the Human Torch says, Flamin' fireballs. I don't get it. What did I do? And so the next day, the Human Torch gives a pulse-pounding demonstration of his full powers before returning to his headquarters. And he says here, Wish Spider-Man was still around to join me in this show, but I don't know where he cut to. And Flash Thompson says, There is my idea of a hero, the Human Torch, and a guy like Spider-Man too. Why don't you see what real man is like, Bookworm? And Peter tells Flash, Someday I'll tell you why, Loudmouth, and I'm sure gonna enjoy it. Yes, sir, it's gonna be a real pleasure. So, all right. So Spider-Man number 3, the first appearance of Dr. Octopus from 1963. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.